Hey there, Corporate Misfits, and welcome to episode 56 of the Corporate Misfit podcast. I'm your host, Brittany Darrington, founder of the Corporate Misfit Club and business strategist for female entrepreneurs who are looking to start, launch, and grow their business. On today's Misfit and Mindset Motivation episode, I want to talk about something that a lot of entrepreneurs never talk about, and that is dealing with depression. Most of us as entrepreneurs, we talk about how we hustled, how we reached success, how we overcame some of the odds to get to where we are, but we rarely talk about the anxiety, the depression that has come along with it. We rarely talk about the pressure and the sleepless nights or that heavy weight that's on our chest or the moments where we don't want to get out of bed. We don't talk about those behind the scenes because there's nothing sexy about it. But I really want to bring light to this because I know so many entrepreneurs are dealing with this and they feel like they are alone. I want you to know that you are not alone. And I want to give you some things that have helped me overcome some of my depression moments or anxiety moments. But ultimately, it can possibly help you to get back up, to see things in a different perspective, to get excited about life and about business and about all the cool and amazing things that you are here to do. So I'm going to go ahead and dive right in. Please know that I am not a therapist or a doctor. I am not licensed in how to overcome depression, but I have experienced depression and anxiety as an entrepreneur. And there have been many times where I have not wanted to get out of the bed because I didn't want to have to deal with the reality. All right, let's go ahead and dive right in.
You're listening to the Corporate Misfit Podcast with Brittany Darrington, where female entrepreneurs can get powerful tips and advice on how to start, launch, and grow their business.
So one of the things that I have found when starting a business is that no one talks about the behind the scenes enough. I have found that so many entrepreneurs share all the beautiful things that are happening, but they're not really sharing some of the emotional things that they have had to push through in order to get to where they're at. One thing I have known and have found out through my entrepreneurial journey is that if my mind is not right, then no matter what success is presented or in front of me, I'll never enjoy it or I'll never be happy for what it is that I have created because I'm not right inside. If you're an entrepreneur, it is highly likely that you are suffering from some sort of anxiety or even depression. This is something that I have dealt with for a very long time. I remember in the early stages of starting my business, I woke up every single day feeling anxious. I remember not even being able to really be around friends and family because I was a wreck inside. I remember not being able to really be pleasant to be around because I was complaining, I was crying, I was all over the place because emotionally I did not know how to cope with all of the things that I was going through. I thought I was alone and I thought no one understood me. One thing you should know is that this is unbelievably common in the world of entrepreneurship, and there is nothing wrong with you. You have a lot of things that are on your plate and you might not know how to cope or deal with it. So it causes that anxiety or it causes you not to want to deal with reality and go into certain stages of depression. When you want to achieve great things, you are going to feel some sort of pressure in order to get there. I think of diamonds and I also think about pearls. And in order for a diamond to become a diamond and a pearl to become a pearl, they have to go through a lot of pressure to become the beautiful thing that it becomes. So I want to share 3 things that have helped me to deal with my depression and also my anxiety. And again, I am not a licensed therapist, a doctor, or anything along those lines. I'm just an entrepreneur, just like most of you, but I am going to share what has helped me, and I hope that it can help you. So the first thing I want you to know is that you only need to worry about solving one problem at a time. Start with one problem and solve that one problem. Don't try to solve all the problems that you have going on at the same time. This approach will create momentum and it will give you the strength to address the next challenge. Now, once you solve one problem, it will allow you to start thinking how you can solve some of the other problems. Ask yourself this every day. Am I solving a problem, or am I just sitting here and letting my problems consume me? Now, the next thing that has really helped me to really deal with my anxiety and depression is to get enough sleep. Do not sacrifice your sleep. When things are not going right, one of the first things that we give up is our time for sleeping. We reduce our sleep from, instead of 8 hours, to 4 to 6 hours, and that might affect our health. And the reason for that of giving up our sleep is because we are now fearful, we have stress, we have anxiety, and now our minds are in turmoil and going in so many different directions that it keeps us from actually getting rest. I want you to know that you need to be able to take care of your body even when you're going through some of the darkest moments, because it will help your body to recover and ultimately start to think about how you can solve the problem. When you have proper rest, it allows you to think more clearly so that you can solve the problem that is at hand. The third thing that I recommend is simplifying your business. Now, this was extremely hard for me when it came to dealing with depression and anxiety because I didn't want to admit that I was dealing with this. And I had too many services, too many products, and too many different directions within my business. And I started to feel overwhelmed. I didn't have the bandwidth to do some of the things that I was trying to implement and do. And ultimately, it led me to not wanting to get out of the bed. I would sleep for hours and hours and hours, and I would wake up extremely tired. I would feel consistently sad, and ultimately I started to check out of conversations. I wasn't present, and I no longer felt like myself. I remember it wasn't until I was sitting in a corner, crying my eyes out, trying to figure out what is wrong with me. I realized as I decided to go and get help and really talk to a therapist and really walk through some of the things that were weighing heavy on me, I realized I had too much going on in my business and I had to simplify things. So I took some time to really figure out how can I keep things extremely simple and how can I hire people to help me implement and take some weight off of my plate. That's why I'm really huge on delegation. And if you have not checked out that episode, I recommend you do. I will link it in the show notes, but it's really important for you to identify how can you keep your business simple and also delegate. So this allowed me to take that weight off of my hands and ultimately start to feel like I could breathe again. Yes, maybe you can do it all by yourself, but it's going to cost you your health. And is it really worth costing you your health in order for you to do it all on your own? And I will tell you, it is not worth it. You waking up feeling that heavy, like anxiety on your chest and feeling like, how the heck can I conquer what it is I'm trying to do? It's not worth it. So I want you to remember that it's okay to pass off a task or hire people or get people to help you implement and make things happen so that you no longer have to walk around stressed, full of anxiety and fear and doubt and confusion and asking yourself, how the heck am I going to do this? Now, my bonus tip for each and every one of you is don't be afraid to speak up and ask for help. When I was going through some of the darkest moments of my depression, I rarely wanted to leave my house. I rarely wanted to talk to anyone. I went into straight isolation mode. I would sleep and I would literally be by myself 24/7, and it became very scary. And ultimately, I learned that I needed to talk to somebody. I needed to share what was really going on with me. And I took that time to get a therapist, and I went into my first session and I remember just crying my eyes out. Like nothing even happened at the time. Like I walked in, we said my name, and I just busted out in tears. And I said, my health is not good and I want to be better, but I don't know how. I don't know what to do, and I don't know where to start. And just admitting that and just saying that out loud allowed me to process, I'm not okay, but I'm taking action to get help. I really recommend that if you are experiencing a level of anxiety or depression, that you speak up and you get help. There are so many opportunities for you to connect with therapists or support groups or with a doctor or whomever it may be that could possibly help you. Speak up and get help. Remember, you are not alone and you don't have to do this alone. It's okay not to be okay. And if you don't feel like you're okay, it's okay to speak up and ask for help. In order for you to be successful as an entrepreneur, you have to make sure that your mind is right. If your mind is right, I promise you, you'll be able to push through some of these dark times. But when your mind is not right, when you're experiencing high levels of anxiety and depression, it makes it really difficult for you to push through some of the storms that you are going to face as an entrepreneur. My goal as an entrepreneur and a coach who works with entrepreneurs is to tell you the real nitty-gritty and the behind the scenes of what entrepreneurship is like. Not every entrepreneur is experiencing anxiety or depression, but I will say that each and every one of us in the world of entrepreneurship have experienced some sort of pressure. So I want to shed light on this topic because if we don't talk about it, if we don't share that we're experiencing some of these emotions and these feelings and these mental health cycles, then we ultimately can't get better. We can't be the best version of ourselves if we don't talk about it, if we don't shed light on it, and if we don't let each other know that it is okay to not be okay and you're not alone and there is help. I definitely recommend that you start with those 3 tips that I have provided today, where you solve one problem at a time. You start focusing on getting a good night's rest and getting enough sleep, and really honing in on simplifying your business so you're not so overwhelmed, you're not so stressed out, and trying to figure out how the heck you are going to do this. And as I mentioned, that bonus tip, which is actually the top tip, is don't be afraid to get help. Don't be afraid to say it's okay that I'm not okay. You are going to get to where you want to go. And as Marie Forleo said, everything is figure outable. But you have to first identify, what are you feeling? And how can we get the ball moving so that you can go in a different direction? All right. Well, if you have been dealing with depression, if you've been dealing with anxiety, if you've been dealing with any level of mental health where you feel like you feel alone, I want you to reach out to me. You can email me directly at bd@brittanydarrington.com. That's my direct email, bd@brittanydarrington.com. Email me. I want you to know that you're not alone. And I will be more than happy to share additional information or provide you with resources that I am connected to in order to help you. All right, stay tuned for this upcoming week. We have our Wednesday strategy session, and we also have our Friday feature where we chat with female entrepreneurs who share how they left their 9-to-5 to start their own business.
If you've enjoyed today's episode of the Corporate Misfit Podcast, we invite you to check out the Corporate Misfit Club. The Corporate Misfit Club is the essential resource for female entrepreneurs who are looking to start or grow a business they actually love. Whether you are a seasoned entrepreneur in your startup phase or simply thinking about taking the leap into entrepreneurship, we've got your back, girl. With our extensive course library, monthly training, exclusive members-only discount perks, and unlimited tools. We also have a supportive community of women where our members share stories, experiences, their wins, and business tips. The Corporate Misfit Club is the perfect place to be to start, launch, or grow a business. So check it out at corporatemisfitclub.com.